My father raised his glass at my engagement party and said, "This is our greatest failure." 60 guests fell silent. My fiancé stood up, but I stopped him. I opened my laptop, and one file revealed in moments the truth that made every face lower. At my engagement party, my father raised his glass and said, "This is our greatest failure." 60 guests fell silent. The entire hall went quiet. I was standing near the stage. In my hand was the small velvet ring box. My fiancé, Jake, stood beside me. He looked at me, confusion flashing across his face. He immediately started to rise from his chair, but I caught his hand and stopped him. I said softly, "Sit down." "Not yet." My father held the microphone firmly. He was smiling at everyone, the kind of polished smile he used at church fundraisers and business dinners, but his eyes carried the same cold hardness I had known for years. "We gave her everything," he announced. "The best schools. The best home. And today she's embarrassing us. If you've ever been underestimated or silenced, stay with me. This story only gets deeper. Subscribe and walk this journey with me to see how truth changes everything." Behind me, my mother lowered her gaze to the floor. In the audience were families from our church, our neighbors, Jake's parents, my college friends, and a few distant relatives who had flown in for the celebration. Every pair of eyes turned toward me. I could hear faint whispers moving like a ripple through the room. I took a slow, steady breath. I had been waiting for this moment. I reached for my laptop, which I had placed on the small table beside the stage earlier that evening. I opened it. The screen lit up, bright against the dimmed ballroom lights. I connected the HDMI cable to the projector. Within seconds, my desktop appeared on the large screen behind us. My father let out a short laugh. "Oh, now she's going to show us a PowerPoint?" I looked at him calmly. "Yes. Something like that." Jake remained seated, silent but alert. He already understood what was about to happen. We had talked about this possibility late at night, weighing the risks, preparing for fallout. He gave me the slightest nod. On the screen, I opened a file titled trust_records.pdf. The first page appeared. It showed official documents with signatures, mine and my father's, and a date from 3 years ago. I picked up the microphone. "This is the trust fund my grandmother left in my name." A low murmur spread through the hall. My father's jaw tightened. I clicked to the next page, a bank statement. Highlighted transfers. Large sums of money. "This," I said, "is the transfer from my trust account to my father's business account. Done without my authorization." Someone near the back whispered, "What?" I moved to the third page, an email from our family attorney. The subject line was clear and professional. "This is the email where our family lawyer warned my father that this transfer was illegal." My father lowered his microphone. "This is a lie." Without hesitation, I clicked on an audio file embedded in the document. A waveform appeared on the screen. Then his voice echoed through the speakers, unmistakable. "She won't find out. She trusts us blindly." The silence that followed was heavier than before. No more whispers. No shifting chairs. Just stillness. I steadied my voice. "Tonight you called me a failure. You said I was embarrassing you. The truth is, you used my college fund to bail out your failing business. You told me the market had crashed. You said the money was gone." My mother's eyes were filled with tears, but she said nothing. I clicked again. A receipt appeared. "And this," I continued, "is the purchase receipt for the new SUV you bought 2 months after that transfer, with that exact money." Jake's parents exchanged a stunned glance. Our church pastor shifted uncomfortably in his seat. I gripped the microphone tighter. For 3 years I worked double shifts at Target. I stocked shelves overnight at Walmart. I took out student loans because I was told there was nothing left. I believed we had lost everything. My father shouted, "This is a private family matter. Shut this down." I shook my head. "You made it public." Then I opened the final page, a scanned copy of a court filing. The case number was visible at the top. "This morning I filed a lawsuit for embezzlement and fraud." The room erupted. Chairs scraped against the floor. Someone gasped, "Oh my God." I closed the file. I shut the laptop gently. That's the truth. My father's face turned red with fury. He stepped down from the stage and moved toward me, his shoulders stiff, his expression burning. Before he could reach me, Jake stood up and positioned himself calmly in front of me. He didn't say a word. He just stood there. "You always thought I was weak," I said, meeting my father's eyes. "You thought I would never question you." Guests began rising from their seats. Some headed quietly toward the exit. Others remained frozen, staring at me as if they were seeing me for the first time. I glanced toward the hall's entrance. 2 police officers were standing just inside the doorway. I had called them earlier. I had simply said there might be a legal issue that evening and that I wanted officers present in case the situation escalated. My father saw them. He stopped mid-step. His eyes flickered toward my mother. She remained where she was, silent and pale. "For 3 years," I said, "I collected every bank statement, saved every email, recorded every call. I waited. And tonight you handed me the opportunity yourself." One of the officers approached. "Sir," he said calmly to my father, "we need to ask you a few questions." The hall was so quiet that I could hear the faint click of someone recording on their phone. I stepped down from the stage. My heart was pounding hard against my ribs, but my face remained steady, almost serene. I walked to my mother. "Did you know?" I asked. She nodded faintly. "I thought he would pay it back." I didn't respond. There was nothing left to say. The officers guided my father toward the exit. He turned once more to look at me. There was anger in his eyes, but beneath it, unmistakably, fear. Jake came to stand beside me again. "You did the right thing," he whispered. "I know," I replied. A few guests approached cautiously. Some said they had no idea. Others simply squeezed my shoulder in quiet support. Jake's mother wrapped her arms around me. "You're not alone," she said firmly. I stood in the center of the hall and looked around. Minutes earlier, this was the place where I had been publicly called a failure. Now those same people had seen the truth with their own eyes. I asked the venue manager to end the party. The catering staff began clearing plates. The DJ slowly faded out the music and powered down his equipment. I walked outside. The night air was cool against my skin. Cars filled the parking lot. The same people who had arrived to celebrate were now leaving quietly, conversations hushed. I glanced at the ring on my finger. Jake asked gently, "Are we okay?" I looked into his eyes. "We're okay as long as we keep telling the truth." He smiled. "Then we're okay." A police car pulled out of the lot. My father sat in the back seat. I didn't wave. I didn't cry. I reopened the court email on my phone. The case number was clear. Everything was documented. Everything was on record. I whispered to myself, this wasn't failure. This was accountability. We walked toward our SUV. I placed my laptop carefully in the back seat and closed the door. Jake started the engine. I looked back at the hall one last time. The lights were dimming. The building that had been filled with celebration was now nearly empty. Today was my engagement party. And today I cleared my name. I sat quietly as we drove away. Inside me there was a strange, steady peace. I knew that by morning the local news might run the story. Social media would talk. There would be opinions, speculation, judgment. But the truth was out. And this time I was the one who brought it into the light. If this story moved you, please take a moment to like and subscribe. Your support truly means more than you know, and it helps these stories reach others who need them. Thank you for staying until the end and sharing this journey with me. I'm grateful you're here.